What it is, my gamers? Welcome to another installment of Keyboards and Consoles. My name's Nikolai, and for those who don't know, I review underrated or unknown games you may not have heard of. Today I'm coming at you with a wartime survival game called This War of Mine. This War of Mine was developed by 11-Bit Studios and released in 2014. Now this game is drastically different from your typical wartime game like Call of Duty or Battlefield or whatever other title you want to throw in there, in the sense that it doesn't focus on the soldier. This game puts you in the perspective of a typical civilian in the fictional city of Pogorum, Grznavia, trying to survive through a civil war. Alright, so let's start off with the gameplay. So you have several options of how you would first like to play the game. When you first load up, you're given a choice between the Final Cut version and the Stories version. Stories is as simple as it sounds. You get to play through 3 different stories, each with their own unique characters, dialogues, and plot. The first story is A Father's Promise, which tells the story of a recently widowed father attempting to take care of his sickly daughter, as well as survive the war surrounding them. The second story is called The Last Broadcast and tells the story of a crippled man who was a radio broadcaster and his wife attempting to survive and gather information to broadcast over the radio. The last story tells the tale of an orphan girl attempting to care for a stranger who stumbled into her home and deciding which is more important, her survival or the survival of her heritage. The other mode is Classic This War of Mine. In this mode you can create your own story with a wide selection of characters and play through some preset scenarios. You can also download various mods for the game and other cool items to spice up your playthrough. Now once you select a mode to play, you will be shown your characters just standing around in a building. This building will be your home throughout your game. You first should open up the area by clearing debris that blocks off certain rooms and floors, as well as loot the building to get some materials to craft with or to trade with other NPCs that you may find on your travel. This game is divided into days and nights. Days are where you have time to craft various accessories and appliances for your shelter like chairs, furnaces, beds, and plenty of other useful crafting stations or quality of life improvements. Days last from about 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. The day can also have interesting events like a trader who will stop by at random intervals, or survivors may come by and ask for your assistance or to join your group. Nights, on the other hand, are the most stressful parts of the game. Nights last from about 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. Each night you can choose to send up to one of your characters out to scavenge, and the rest can either guard or sleep. If you choose to send a character out at night, you take control of said character in the same manner you would during the day. They sneak around the location you send them, loot various objects, clear out obstacles, and return home whenever you send them home. Also make sure you get them home before day, because if you don't, your character will take longer to return or may not return at all. Now that may sound too easy, right? Well, that's because it is. Now before you go to a specific location, make sure you read the description of it and bring required equipment with you. The description tells you what you can expect there in terms of people or resources. Some places have plenty of resources and should be safe, whereas others are full of homeless, traders, scavengers, and other problematic individuals. Whenever you see someone at a location, always be ready to fight, and unless you're certain you can kill the person, don't get into a fight, because once your character is dead, they're dead. And their death can have game-altering effects on your other survivors. Now let's say you make it out of the night with plenty of materials, food, water, and various necessities. You better hope everything went well at home. Remember how I said you can keep someone at guard each night? Well, if you keep one on guard, you have a chance to prevent someone from breaking in and stealing your resources. You can return home to a multiple of outcomes. Of course, nothing could happen, or your resources could be gone, a character could be dead, wounded, or just walk away, along with any other mixed outcomes. Now that we have the basic gameplay out of the way, I'm going to provide you with some good tips to make sure you survive. Now, one big aspect I failed to mention is that this game is difficult. Extremely difficult. At least it is for me, because I'm just bad. Either way, this game is difficult, especially when winter sets in later in your playthrough. During the winter, it gets cold. Big surprise. And survival gets difficult. I would recommend building a radio early because one of the stations is a weather station, and keeping up to date on when it gets cold is a great way to know if you need to build a furnace or not. Another tip is to save your food until your characters get either very hungry or starving. This way you save your food for when you absolutely need it. A tip for looting is to either go into a place you know will be safe with nothing so that you have enough inventory space to bring back parts or whatever other materials you need, then go back the following night to clean up whatever you left over. You should also save your food, like I said, as well as keep medical supplies unless someone is severely wounded or sick. If they're just slightly sick or wounded, just have them sleep in a bed during the day and help them recover. Now, another tip for when it comes to scavenging and overall survival is that each character has their own unique attribute and storage capacity. For example, Katya is a skilled bargainer, making her better for trades, and Pavel has an increased sprint speed. Aside from bargaining skills and Fast Runner, there are plenty of other cool, interesting attributes with strange and unique specifics. Alright, now on to the actual review part of the video. Now, I can't stress this enough, but this game is difficult, for me anyways, and can be extremely depressing. Managing resources and taking care of your crew is the main focus of the game. I find the resource management and the survival aspect of the game to not only be extremely difficult, but enjoyable, because every playthrough can end differently. Even the stories can have drastically different endings based on your choices. The game also has a lot of creative freedom with where you place built objects for your shelter, where you go at nights, as well as custom games where you can choose who you want in your group, what places you would be able to visit at night, as well as a plethora of other cool factors you can change. The game also has plenty of mods and custom playthroughs to download to further mix up your game. Another aspect I love about the game is the grainy style of artwork. This is awesome because it helps show that this game is meant to be dark, depressing, and takes place during a war, as if the sounds of distant gunshots didn't let you know that already. Overall, the game is extremely enjoyable, has plenty of replayability, and added downloadable content, custom playthroughs, and plenty of different endings. The game's difficulty also adds the challenge that gamers may need to keep them coming back to the game to try to beat it. I would highly recommend this game if you enjoy strategy, resource management, and a difficult experience. The game can be found on Steam, iOS, Android, PlayStation, Xbox, even the Nintendo Switch. Prices for the game vary greatly depending on which version you wish to play, with iOS being roughly $15 and the complete edition for the Switch being about $40. On top of the base game, there are plenty of DLC. The DLC available are the 3 stories I mentioned earlier, only for a few dollars, and the Little Ones DLC, which introduces children into the game for you to take care of. So, after everything mentioned, do you feel you have the ability to survive through an ongoing civil war? Will you pick up the game, or if you already have, do you enjoy it? Better yet, are you better at it than me? Let me know by tweeting us at the Twitter @ZTVGoofingOff with the hashtag Keyboards and Consoles.